So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPad mini 6 full review. Now this is Apple's latest all new redesigned iPad mini. Now to understand this a little bit more, why it's such an exciting upgrade, take a look at the iPad mini 5. You'll really also notice it on the front of that iPad mini 5. Look at the bezels, look at the all screen here for the iPad mini 6. We are looking at 8.3 inch up from, I think it was 7.9 on here. Now the aspect ratio does change a little bit, keep that in mind, but the price also goes up on this iPad mini 6. It's going to go to a little bit of a higher $499 price, but you are getting quite a bit here, which we'll talk about in this video. It comes in 4 different colors: space gray, starlight, purple, and pink. And if you want a 256 gig, you're going to go to 256 gig for $649, and it goes up if you want cellular editions of this iPad. Let's go ahead and close that out and take a look at some other differences here. Now the key specifications that matter for this are an 8.3 inch liquid retina LCD display. This display also does have a capable nits brightness of 500, aluminum body, Touch ID up here at the top of this iPad right here. You'll see it does have the volume rockers, which are placed up there. That's a little bit different from other iPads, but they had to fit it somewhere. We do have stereo speakers, top and bottom, as you can see right there. No ProMotion display on this one. They do save that out for the pros. And we do have an Apple A15 Bionic chipset in here, which is very exciting because that's a lot of power for a mini. That goes up from the A12 on the older iPad mini, which was already pretty good for that one. That was a good update over the older iPad mini, but this is a major update. 4 gigabytes of RAM on here, so not quite as much as a 6 gigabyte of RAM Pro, but they got to save that again for the Pro. This is still a lot of power packed into a little iPad mini. It's very nice, quite nice to be honest with you. Now, what you'll notice right away when taking this out of the box is that it just feels special because they took what was already a nice design in the Pro models and brought it down to something that potentially could fit in your hand. I mean, not everybody's going to be able to fit this in their hand, but if you have big enough hands, you might be able to hold this in your hand really easily. And they brought that modern design. I've been waiting for this forever to the iPad mini, and I find that pretty nice. The actual product is quite light as well, as you would expect being a mini product. This thing only weighs around 293 grams. So for a little bit of perspective there, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is around 240 grams. So it's not much heavier than an iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is pretty amazing to say the least for an iPad. And because the weight is evenly distributed across this squared body right here, it doesn't feel quite as heavy as the density you'll find in something like a smartphone. So this feels incredibly light when you are toting around with it and just holding it. It just feels like nothing. It feels like a featherweight. It's super light feeling. And talking a little bit more about the display itself. Now, I do like the brightness. It gets very bright on here, and they do have some nice included wallpapers that I usually talk about. Well, you get some special mini wallpapers down here, which are very exclusive to the iPad mini. They all say mini, and I enjoy this because it just lets you know you got the iPad mini right here. Of course, you have the iOS 15 wallpapers there as well. So very nice display. When you are going to be watching or reading text is still a little bit small here on certain websites, like full web browser based websites. So I will be finding myself pinching the zoom a little bit more on the iPad mini, but I also find myself using this to make up for that more. Just go to the reader view and everything becomes nice and large. So that's just something to note, but you know what you're getting into when you get an Apple iPad mini. You're getting a smaller display, so you're going to expect that. But what's really neat about this display is that you can split the screen like you're used to with other iPads. So with that being said, it's more productive than, say, a larger smartphone because of the iPad OS. So that's what I really like. It's small and compact, but it has the iPad OS power because of the software. You have the dock, you can bring in multiple apps, you can get very productive. It is missing a Magic Keyboard, but I'm not sure if they could fit one on this small of a body without it being too cramped. You can see right there, we do have Apple Pencil 2nd generation support. Why is this key? Because this is the better Apple Pencil in the lineup. It just works better. It feels better. This is the better Apple Pencil to get, whereas the other one is the older model, which is not quite as snappy and quite as good, but you can also use things like this. You can write on the screen with the scribble feature right here. We'll hit YouTube right there, or let's go to trending here, and you'll see you can go ahead and watch your videos really easily here. In addition to that, the actual contact with the screen with this Apple Pencil, the writing is as you would expect. So if I'm just going to draw a Mini 6, you'll see, let me try to draw it right here. It's not the best drawing in the world, but you can see iPad Mini 6 Touch ID located right here. And then we have our volume and power buttons right there. This is going to be one of the better overall Apple Pencil experiences comparatively to the older one with the older Apple Pencil, because there's a place for it magnetically now right here on the body, where that wasn't the case before. So now on the topic of software, iPadOS, like I've talked about, does bring a lot more multitasking features. And then you do have the focus modes that do sync across the iPhones as well. So that's a neat touch with this on the whole. And some people have been complaining about a jelly scroll, and I actually have seen it. If you do look really closely, you have to put it in slow motion, but kind of just look really closely, you might see it. Apple says it's not a problem, and I don't find it to be a problem either. I did notice it the first day, but I'm not really paying attention to it anymore. And I wanted to showcase a little bit more of iPadOS's power, because I didn't think I did a great job of showing that. You can see right here, we have a video lined up on the left. This is the multitasking. And then we have the, browser open right here. So 3 things at once right here. Very nice. You can also bring it in, or you can swipe this over there. In addition, you can have the dock right here and start bringing in other applications like so, and switch between them. So you also can do picture in picture with YouTube. If you're a premium user, it should be coming to most people soon. You can slide it over. So a lot of multitasking ability. And then up here, if you click this 3 dots, let's go up here, you'll see that there are other ways to split things out. So very productive way of using an Apple product versus something like an iPhone. Of course, you have the new Maps updates to this one. I'm not going to open it up here in this video, but we also do have, the Share Play, the new FaceTime updates if you're going to be doing FaceTime. And what's neat about this one is they do give you this new 12 megapixel center stage camera. Essentially what this is a super ultra wide camera. I mean, look at this. You basically can see most of my body right there. Let's go ahead and put it, in the frame. Boom. Huge overall camera angle right there. This is going to be great for doing things like, video chatting and stuff like that, if you want to show people basically everything. And since we're talking about that camera, let's talk about the rear camera. A 12 megapixel true tone camera. This is similar to what you would have found on something like an iPhone XR just a couple years ago, a 12 megapixel true tone. Now this can only shoot at 1080p video on the front, but you can also do 4K 60 on the rear. So if you are looking for a little bit higher quality video, just switch it over to the rear. You'll have to change this right here in settings. Let's go to camera. You'll see record video up to 4K 60. So like I say, they were pretty close to making this iPad right here a total Mini Pro. I mean, they should just put the Pro Motion. We could have called it the Mini Pro right here, because it's basically almost that with this 4K 60. They would have to put 4K 60 maybe on the front to call it a Pro, but I gotta say, this thing is really packing quite a bit on offer. Now back to YouTube. Let's go ahead and turn up that volume, talk about the audio really quickly. Different. They might notice these little things, but it's not a major overhaul, because audio is important on the external body for the iPad mini, because you aren't always going to be using headphones with an iPad. You want to kick back, relax. Year with iOS 15 with some nice included new features. I will say though that I still think 6. Audio sounds very crisp. I'm actually bring the mic a little closer. 1 inches is enough to do a split screen mode. So I want to see split screen on these iPhones. This is a larger phone. I mean, you see how it fits in my hand right here. This is not the mini size. It's the regular 13 Pro, and Apple pushed a couple years. And you can see just how nice those speakers do sound. It's a pretty nice audio experience for this iPad mini. Now, next thing I want to talk about with the iPad mini 6 is the battery life. What have I been experiencing? Well, Apple's claiming around 10 hours. I'm not quite getting that right now. I've been getting around 9 hours of battery life, but that's still good enough. It seems to drain a little faster than something like my 11-inch Pro. It does have a smaller battery, so of course we could expect that. If I go ahead and put on low power mode, I'll get even better battery life, but it's still enough for a full day. iPads usually always give you a full day of battery life, and the iPad mini 6 is no exception right here. Another nice change is that you do have USB-C, which allows you to plug in cameras and some other things in there. It makes it more universal, and I hope this is where we're going with the iPhones in the future, because the iPads are having it already. Now this does feature Bluetooth 5.0 on board, so if you are going to be using this, you know, for connecting, it's not the fastest 5.2 standard, but it's quick enough. On the whole, the conclusion of this video, should you buy this iPad mini? I think if you're looking for the iPad mini redesign, you've been waiting forever. You just didn't want the same bezels. You love the mini size iPad, you love the Pros, but you never wanted it in such a large size, but you never wanted it in a super large size. This is gonna be the product for you right here in the iPad mini 6. It's just a beautiful, small, lightweight iPad that really reminds you of the Pro models and gives it to you in such a compact and portable form factor. This can be great for people who work on the road or they work in tight spaces. I can see this being in heavy use in the medical field and some other areas. Maybe when we're out and about, you know, traveling and stuff, this could be an amazing product as well. There's a lot of use cases for a mini that let you keep your bigger iPad at home and use this on the go. And with the inclusion of Apple Pencil, I don't find this to be the best for artists just because it's so small. But if you want to get some artistic stuff done, you want to take some notes, you know, you're in a class and you need to take notes, you want something small for your backpack, you got this nice Apple Pencil to do that as well. So let me know your thoughts on the iPad mini 6. Are you going to pick one up this year? It's at $499, or are you going to skip this one out? Let me know your thoughts on this all new iPad mini 6. I would say it's a pretty good overall product. There are some issues with the jelly scrolling that some people are reporting. I don't think they're major issues. I don't think it's a reason to not pick up this iPad mini, but if you are concerned about that, just go ahead and take a look at it in the store first before making your purchase decision. I'm pretty happy with it, and I think it's a pretty good overall first attempt at redesigning this iPad mini, and I'm glad that Apple went this direction, because I do think the future of iPad mini does hang in the balance of keeping this thing modern and not keeping this around with this older bezel like design. And hopefully this is an introduction to what's to come on the next standard iPad for everyone, is this type of design, you know, for everyone. So maybe we'll get rid of the bezel design on all of them going forward. Thumbs up if you found the video helpful, entertaining, informing. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.